Here we are once more on the Wellness Driven Life Show. The revolution will be televised, bringing integrity back to media. Michelle Emmick is on a mission to change the media landscape. She's an award winning author and media entrepreneur. She's seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of the industry, and she's not going to take it anymore. In this video, Michelle lays out her vision for a new kind of media, one that brings integrity back to the table. Tune in for a dose of inspiration that you won't want to miss. Hi. Michelle Emmick is the founder of Ask Us Beauty. After spending 20 years in sales and operations for various aesthetic brands, she saw a need for more diversity and transparency in the industry. She decided to change the narrative and founded Ask Us Beauty, a platform with a mission to educate, empower, and inspire others. The community formed around Ask Us Beauty comprises of women who want to champion each other and define beauty on their terms. Please help me welcome Michelle Emmick. Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for being on the Wellness Driven Life Show.
Hi, April. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Well, I know a little bit about you, but can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned in the opening, I spent 20 years in the field of aesthetics as a sales and operations leader. And I loved the industry. It primarily worked in plastic surgery. And it was so much fun because I got a chance to see transformations. Where there was an area of opportunity I saw was just to provide more authenticity and transparency when it came to aesthetic procedures. And so I thought, let me share my expertise with those out there so that they could have a great experience. And that really led to kind of next steps. I wrote a book that also shared my experience, and then leading to how can we be a real source of information on all things beauty and wellness. And through that, just got together with women and kind of built a platform through Ask Us Beauty magazine where we can provide that transparency that women are craving, that we want.
I love that you are really going towards that transparency aspect. Do you feel that the media is lacking that? And I mean, you must, but how far in depth do you feel that? What really made you come into this new aspect?
Yeah, that's a great question. I always saw it. I used to say, when you would look at the image of plastic surgery, you would see the women on the website with no cellulite and six-pack abs. And I'm like, who are these people? Because these are not the women I'm meeting with. I'm meeting with women that are looking to, they want to make a change for themselves for whatever that reason, but they're not trying to, walk the runways of Victoria's Secret show or something. So I always thought this is such a different disconnect. Why can't we just really show images of women and really tell the story of why they want to do something to transform themselves for the better? And then social media really took it next level. And COVID hit, and then it was even worse. We had doctors in the OR doing TikToks and, just so much misinformation out there. And we really have become like a highlight reel. And I always kind of reference plastic surgery because that was my frame of reference. But they show somebody's before and after, and people weren't thinking about how much actually goes into having an aesthetic procedure. There's a lot of pre and post work that needs to be done mentally, not just physically, but mentally. And it really bothered me. And I thought, how can I how can I inform and educate people in that space? And that's what I did for many years.
Mm. Why do you think that it's essential for people to be transparent in this area?
Well, I mean, ultimately, we all want to have a great experience, and so, the level of misinformation. I mean, when we talk about surgery, I mean that could I mean, that could go as bad as it could possibly go, right? I mean, there's up until death. Like, there's
Yeah.
people that don't know. I mean, see people that go over to other countries to have surgery, or they find a doctor online and they're like, oh, this guy is great, and he ends up having all kinds of all kinds of issues, but. Um, we need to be informed to have an
Mm.
overall good experience, whatever that may be. And it's not just for having a procedure, it's anything. If I purchase a product, I want to know the backstory, I want to know the why, I want to know, what are the benefits, that are the real benefits. And everybody now has become a paid influencer. You don't know what to believe, and that was
Mm.
really kind of the gist of, again, the magazine, of saying, like, we partner with people that we 100% stand by their brand. Like, we're like, this is a product I actually use and I like. I'm not being, not as opposed to what's out there now. I always tell the story that I think is funny. My niece and I were traveling I think it was last summer, the summer before, and she was like, hey, there's this charcoal toothpaste, let's buy it. And I was like, oh yeah, I've seen
Mm.
that. She's like, yeah, there's TikToks on it. So we buy it and we use it. And I'm telling the story to a cosmetic dentist that we had interviewed for the magazine. And she's like, that's the worst stuff you can use. It ruins the enamel. And I had to laugh because we saw, like, it was from these TikTok videos, right? Like, somebody saying how great it was. So I said, it just goes to show the level of misinformation out there in the media is just insane, and it's only growing. And so if we can be a place where people can say, hey, I've got questions, can you answer them from people that are an authority in the field, then we're doing something good.
Absolutely, I agree with you, and I've heard so much about people's number one news source is now social media,
Yeah, isn't
and
that
so
scary?
yeah, so the amount of misinformation is potentially very great, and so I really like that you've come out with Ask Us Beauty magazine and really wanting to change that structure, change the look, the voice, what people are saying and what's real. And I think that you really tune in on, the stories of women who are in the shining light, so to speak, and their stories and what it really means, what beauty means to them.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about, to me, you've given really great examples through women championing each other and shining a light on, plus broadcasting National Compliment Day, for example. And I would love to know, when we come back from a commercial, are there any other ways the beauty industry would become more transparent? So, Michelle, I know that was kind of a mouthful of a question. So, I want to just go back over it. What I really liked about researching you when I did was your incredible examples that you've been doing through the magazine, such as championing, having women champion each other. I think that's incredible. So, lifting each other. And also shining a light and broadcasting the National Compliment Day. I saw a few segments on that, and I thought that was just brilliant in really, reaching out to others and complimenting each other. So those are a few ways that you're bringing what I would call transparency to, the beauty industry. And can you tell me a little bit more about what other things are you doing for that?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for acknowledging that. We always appreciate when everyone is seeing what we're doing. That we are a platform of positivity.
Mm.
Point blank. That is what we are putting out there. And it is so important. I would say the number one thing and that we're proud of that we do is we shine a spotlight on everyone. We want to be an example of true inclusivity. We show people that are, every from celebrities to everyday individuals. We have sections inside of our magazine and our platform, Timeless Beauty, Women Over 70, recognizing women who serve and our first responders, people
Mm.
that are behind the scenes that are, doing great things out there. We showcase beauty in all its forms. And that's really the whole premise of what we're trying to do, because we believe beauty is not, yes, there's the outside and we have to acknowledge that. We understand that, but it's also what's, really in the inside, and it comes in our family and our friends and our personal passions and our professional lives. That's what we're trying to show, is really to redefine beauty and then ultimately, how you defining it for ourselves.
Ah, that is so cool. And, what I heard, of course, when I think about my background in law enforcement, and when you said, highlighting first responders, highlighting people with boots on the ground, people
Yes,
in the medical industry. And I mean, beauty isn't just for the people who are on TV and in magazines and really showing up on camera. I mean, beauty is for all of us. And I think that that's really what you're showcasing here, is that beauty also is not just on the outside, it's on the inside, and that's where it
yes,
starts.
yes. And then we shout it from the rooftops. And it's interesting because people immediately see, the word beauty and they think hair and makeup. And I'm like, yeah, those things are great. And there's some of that in there, but we have, our team is filled with people of different backgrounds and all bring something to the table. And we just want to continue to shine the spotlight on everyone, because there's beauty everywhere around us. And that's what we want to do, is showcase that beauty in all its forms.
Mm. And then, of course, for everyone that really wants to know, how can I transform myself in an easy way or a natural way, like, so that's really when the tips and tricks come in. So not only with the stories, but finding real things that we can take and apply to have results, because I really feel like when we are confident in the way that we look, we show up differently.
Absolutely. And we have, our contributing team is, we have the most amazing contributing team. We have, a psychologist, a wellness coach, fitness coach. We have, beauty experts. We have pretty much, we kind of run the gamut of people that can provide great information and those tips and tricks and tools and all those things so that we can, shine our light inside and out.
I am so excited to hear more about your team. We're going to do that soon, because it does sound like you have this powerhouse working with you in order to truly get a message out. And I think that that's probably really your goal. Is that correct? You just want this message to be out and
Yeah,
heard.
again, it stemmed from those, all those years working in an industry that was image based.
Mm,
And I wrote a book about it. That you can do anything you want to yourself. I mean, I've met with thousands of women across the country, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to do something for yourself, but do it for you, and know
mm,
that you can fix all the things on the outside you want, but you got to do the work on the inside. That's really where it starts. And so that was my message. And because the book resonated, and I thought, how can we expand this on a bigger platform? Because that's the message we want to go. We want to make an impact, and a positive one.
Yeah. I want to touch a little bit about, you said you want to do it for you. Can you tell me or share a story about an experience that you've had about people, and I know you have plenty, people who come into that they're not necessarily doing it for them, or they're doing it for, maybe aren't the reasons that are in their best interest?
Yeah. I mean, it happens. It happened often. For example, someone would come in and say, my husband, well, this was one I heard a lot. My husband left me for a younger woman.
Mm.
And, I get it. That's tough. When I started in that industry, I was in my early 20s, and I learned so much. And I always say I learned more than they have no idea how much they did for me. And I talk about that in the book, but, it's really about, again, doing that internal work, because yes, you can have things done on the outside, and yeah, that will likely help your confidence. But again, it's really a Band-Aid to really fix what's going on. So that was probably the most common one that we would get, sadly.
Yeah. What do you think that the impact will have on society, what you're doing with this transparency and the magazine?
Well, I hope that people walk away feeling good. I hope they our pillars are educate, empower, and inspire. So that's exactly what we want to do. We also want to make an impact that affects the younger generation. I'm a mom of an 11-year-old. I want to instill that confidence in her at a very young age. I have nieces. It's very important that we set the example, and the more that we can lead, and hopefully they walk away with loving themselves inside and out.
Yeah. Do you think that transparency or transparent beauty will become more popular in the future? So more and more of this, shining light and coming about. Do you think the importance of this and the popularity of it is going to be increasing?
I hope so, and I think so. Obviously platforms like ours. I think I just saw recently Kate Winslet actress Kate Winslet was out, and she was doing a post with taking her makeup off and kind of talking about what really goes on in the red carpet. She's like, you see everybody glamorous. She's like, 5 minutes in your limo, you got the shoes off, you're eating McDonald's, and I love that, because I'm like, let's just get real, people. I mean, it's just an image, and there's nothing wrong. I always say there's nothing wrong with filters and branding photos and different things. But at the end of the day, we've got to show up. We got to show up as our authentic selves as well. And I do think, as women, we band together, and if we can all agree that we're making a positive impact, that it will. And I think we are.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I think you're absolutely making an impact. And I want to just come back to after this commercial, and I'd really love to know, what would you say to people who feel like they need to conform to certain beauty standards, right, when we come back? So, what would you say to people who feel like they need to conform to certain beauty standards?
Well, first of all, basic is boring. you know, we're we're all special and unique, and that's, the world is a very colorful place, and we need to show that. And so it is easy to get sucked into, trends. I talk about it in my book, how it's almost like sometimes it's like the valley of the dolls, right? Everybody starts looking the same. But we need to embrace our uniqueness. And I think that the more we can put that message out there, people will feel more confident to do so. So we have to push not only us. I mean, we're a small business, right? We're a small independently owned business, but we need to push the big brands, the people that are out there that have the millions of dollars that are able to push the marketing message. We need to let them know what we want, what we will accept. And that is to see that, diversity, and we all come in different shapes and sizes and colors. And, we make up the whole rainbow, and we need to be able to show that and hold them to that as well.
Mm, that's a very powerful message that we are all different. We're all unique. We definitely don't want to be the same because that's super boring
Boring.
anyway.
Yeah,
That's not
it's
how we
boring.
were designed and created. And how could that possibly, create this colorful, wonderful place and space, to see what we're all capable of and what we do. So I really like that message. That's a wonderful answer. Uh, how do you define beauty on your own terms?
Well, I always say, to me, beauty is a feeling. It's when I
Mm,
walk away from a conversation and I have a smile on my face, and again, I feel good, or I meet somebody that's got this great energy. I'm big into energy. Like, I feel it when I'm talking to someone, just talking to you. We're vibing because we right, we're in agreement. And so I think that's for me. It's how someone makes me feel, and how I make someone feel. That's beauty to me.
Oh, that's a really wonderful, wonderful answer, Michelle. Beauty is a feeling. It's not just about, how you look, and I couldn't agree with you more. And I never really thought of it that way. And, I guess because I'm not, engulfed in the industry such as
Right.
you. I have to show up a little bit differently now that I'm more in public and, I run this show. But I really like that. I know that when I am feeling good and I'm comfortable in my own skin and I'm having a great conversation and there's this flow and, that higher vibrational state. So that is a really, really cool way to look at it. Thank you for that
Well, thank you. And
explanation.
we ask a lot of the interviews we do in the magazine, especially with the celebrity covers. I always ask them, how do they define beauty? And it's been interesting. We're coming close to our 2-year mark. No one's ever mentioned the outside. It's always that inside. And I think that's, pretty remarkable. That says a lot. And so
Yeah.
we all feel the same. And I would always encourage, to anyone that's watching, listening, is don't be afraid to pop on camera, with your ponytail on and no makeup and things like that. I I think the more authentic we become, the more people are it's relatable, because, behind the doors of here is, my daughter, and I've probably got some dishes in the sink, and, it's like, this is
Yeah.
real life. Like, it's real life. Like, we don't have to play perfect, because we're not. No one is.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And I could absolutely attest to that, you know, doing, going live and, I certainly am not perfect. I mess up and I just have to keep rolling with it and, hope that my charm just appeases the masses as
Yes,
we
and
you
it
keep
will.
going.
Yes, it will. And what's great about it is always, like I said, just do you. Like, it's okay if you mess up. It's okay. We say that all the time. I'm like, we launched our first issue. We were like, we found errors and things like that. I'm like, it's okay. You know what? That's who we are. It's all right. And so, as long as you embrace it, and then, I do think that relates, because, unfortunately, again, we live in a world where it's very much a highlight reel. And
Yeah.
then people start to be like, what? Then you live in that whole world of comparison. And so we're just like saying, listen, And I talk about it in my book. I kind of talk about all these things, but I'm like, I've been around the wealthiest and I've been around the poor. And like, happiness, again, it comes from within. You can have all those things, the external, but it really is about doing the work inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if we want to go the route of, talking about so much of what we see, on social media is we assume that everybody has everything together, the people, the content creators. But I feel like I'm starting to see a shift, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree. I feel like I'm seeing a shift in the authenticity level of how content creators are starting to show up. And they're not making everything so perfect anymore. And there are some that are not, but I just feel like I'm seeing more and more people who are really living in that authenticity and showing this relatability.
I think so. I hope so. It's easy to start. Well, let's put it this way: it's easy to start that way. But let's give an example of someone who starts on TikTok and maybe they just do it for fun, and now they get a following. Well, now you get a little taste of it, and then what happens, right? It's like, oh, I got to upgrade, and now I'm getting paid sponsors, so now I've got to do this, and then I got to. So it's easy. It's funny. I haven't always told the story, but one of the people I interviewed for, I think it was like our second issue, I interviewed one of the ladies from Real Housewives. And she said to me, she was very candid. We actually, I knew her plastic surgeon. He was a friend of mine that I worked with years ago. And I said, you've been very open about all your plastic surgery. And she's like, listen, when I got on the show and I saw myself on HD, she was like, I just started, and I laughed, but I was like, it's probably true. Like, you start showing up on camera all the time, and then you've got people commenting and you're noticing all your flaws. And so it takes a lot to really be in a mindset of like, I'm okay with the wrinkles or the lines and it takes a lot of self-talk. And that's why it's like, if we, as women, we have to be honest, because we all feel those things. We all have those insecurities. We have to be able to be vocal and also do the work and put the work in, because it's not easy.
No, no, it's not easy. And I think that there maybe should be a healthy balance of, for me, the Wellness Driven Life Show, I really want to promote wellness. And I tell you what, it has been a journey for me to decide to show up to the world and show
Yes.
myself, because I know that I don't always say, I know all of these things that would be great to do every single day, but I don't always do them.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is nobody does always,
No, and that's
because
what I'm saying. Like, we're all in the same boat.
yes.
Every single, I mean,
Yeah.
we don't walk around with glam and hair and makeup, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to record, and like, so it takes a lot to show up. So kudos to you for doing it, and anybody out there doing it, really,
Yeah.
because you should celebrate that, because it does. And I hope we see more of it. I hope more people do platforms like what you're doing, because it matters and it makes a difference.
And speaking of that, we're going to go to a commercial that really is strong in that, and it features Les Brown, and he really talks about just that. Michelle is, and I've been understanding the power of that, of coming out and speaking your truth and living in a sense of authenticity and going on stage. There's so much power in speaking. So let us check this out.
KimJacobsConsulting.com. People say opportunity knocks on every door. Right. No. Opportunity stands by silently waiting for you to recognize it. So I want you to recognize that this is a time for you. This is an incredible time to have your own talk show. It establishes a level of credibility.
Yes.
And by being exposed to people on a regular basis, it allows you to strategically begin to impact and attract your audience. She can take you in a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself. So go to kimjacobsconsulting.com. That's kimjacobsconsulting.com. Did I say kimjacobsconsulting.com? Yes, you did. Very good. Make sure you go there and sign up for the coaching, and we're looking forward to working with you. You have something special. You have greatness within you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that the more that I hear that, I love it every single time. I always end with a smile. And I think that it's a really cool concept of when we're defining beauty on our own terms, you know, stepping out on stages or just showing up or not being afraid. Again, that's defying beauty on your own terms. That's being your own creative self.
That's right. 100%.
Tell me a little bit more about the magazine and the directions that you're looking to be going.
Yeah, it's been June will be 2 years, and I used to travel for years, and I love nothing better than getting on a plane and sitting down with a magazine. It was like my favorite thing to do. But through the years, I realized, the magazines just felt light, right? It was just like very ad heavy. There's not a lot of content. I'd sit down and 5 minutes later, I'm like, that's it. Like, no, we haven't even taken off yet. So, and I'm a writer, and I love to read. And so I thought, I want to be able to combine the things that I love, that I know other women like me enjoy too. I want something that's very content rich. I want to walk away feeling good. I want to hear about other people's stories, and I want to share my stories as well. And so we kind of sat down and laid out a map of like, okay, what do we want this to look like? If we were to put something together, and I know some people say print is dead. I don't believe that. I think, I'm going to be 50 in a few months. I think our demographic really does love to read. People are still buying hardcover books, right? So,
Yeah.
But they want something of value. And that's what we wanted to create. We wanted to create something of value. And so the magazine is, I don't come from the magazine space. I have no experience in magazines, but I know people. And I know that everyone has a story. And I wanted to be able to, again, shine some light and put positivity out in the world. So here we are. It's been an incredible journey. I get to interview, some of the most recognized people in the world, which is cool. And I get to, talk to and interview everyday individuals that are equally, as amazing and have a great story to share. And that's what I love. I love that we bring together people of all backgrounds. The best compliment we get is when someone says, wow, I read this article on, for example, MC Light. I didn't know about her. She was, or like they read some, another one. It's like I've really felt like it was important to bring people of all backgrounds together instead of just, we cater to this or we cater to that. So it is primarily women, but we do have men that we feature in our magazines. And, I don't know what the future holds, because we just keep going one foot in front of the other, but we continue to grow. And it's just been, it's been a lot of hard work, but it's been completely rewarding. And I love every minute of it.
Well, I'll tell you what I like to say, because eWomen Network is primarily women, as in the name, but we do have a few good men. And so I like to say that. And, people, when we get to bring everyone, it's this all encompassing aspect, because we're all human. And so it's a really cool thing. And let's go ahead. I want to bring up a couple of photos that you shared with me and talk a little bit about these. So here is your book. This is your book. And by the way, I think this title is absolutely brilliant. And I would love to know how this book did. I know this is a bestseller, but tell me what did you receive after writing this book? Because to me, it's very grabbing. I mean, I'm not even really interested in plastic surgery personally. However, I would want to pick up this book and read it because, like I said, I think that the title is brilliant. It's a grabber.
Oh, thank you so much. And how many people have said that to me? Like, I'm not even interested in plastic surgery, But when they read it, they realized that it was so much more. The
Mm-hmm.
messaging was, yes, that was my career, but the messaging again is really about, you know, loving yourself inside out. This book is my baby. Like I mentioned earlier, I had such an amazing 20-year career in this space, working with doctors, you know, right out of residency, and then all these thousands of women that I helped, and I felt like I was a part of, you know, with a transformation in their life. And so I share all those stories. I did something that again was kind of the genesis of the magazine, because I wanted to get it out to as many people as possible. So I reached out to my network, and I had over, you know, close to 200 women on my launch team. And I said, hey, let's help me get this book to #1. Like, let's just go gangbusters. And so I had t-shirts made up, and I had the red bandanas, and you know, everybody just went out and kind of exploded out there for us. And then it was such, you know, it was so well received. And I do get asked, they're like, who's, you know, what's Blue Collar Beauty? I'm like, that was me, because I'm from a small town in upstate New York. You know, my first job out of college was working in a factory. You know, I've had several of those blue collar jobs, and then I was kind of catapulted into this world of plastic surgery. And so I always kind of felt like I was the girl next door, that blue collar beauty. And I wanted to share those experiences. So it was amazing. I'm very proud of it. My goal, I always think this is fun. My goal was to get it into, you know, obviously airports, because obviously magazines, as I said, what I loved, and I tried so hard and it didn't happen. And so when Ask Us Beauty landed into, you know, Tampa International, it was like a dream come true. And I thought, how awesome. I never thought when I wrote the book, would I be a founder and editor-in-chief of my own magazine. And there it was, you know, there it is in airports. And so kind of amazing, a full circle moment.
I love those stories of, you know, the humble beginnings. And then when you come across, you know, like you did your magazine in the airport. I mean, how profound is that experience? You
It's
know,
amazing. It's like I can't even put it into words. And I manifested, you know, we laughed because I used to take my book, I used to take Blue Collar Beauty, and I'd go to the airport and I would drop it in there and I would take pictures, and I'd be like manifesting, you know, and then I would get shut down. And I've learned a lot of the inside out. That's a whole nother separate conversation, but it's tough to make that happen, especially if you're self-published, which I was. And so to see it there is, it's kind of that, it's that undescribable, it's an amazing feeling. And I'm proud, and I will shout it from the rooftops too. I have no problem with tooting our horn, because I'm like, we did this.
Yeah.
Without big media. That's the thing. Without big media, because we're not owned. It's just us. We're bootstrapped. We're a small and scrappy team.
Very cool. Here it is. There's the Ask Us Beauty magazine. And you know what? Actually, I want to go back, Michelle, because what I want to do is for those, the audience that's listening, I want to just state the title of this book, Blue Collar Beauty, Confessions of a Plastic Surgery Coach. Very cool title. Love it. All right. Ask Us Beauty magazine. So here's a picture of a few of the magazine covers, and you have some incredible people. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Yeah, absolutely. We're in development right now for issue 8. So we had 7 issues out. Our current issue out is a double cover. It's called Leveling Up. So we decided to do a double cover because we were leveling up, and that's with Sherry Shepard. She's got the #1 new daytime talk show out. And I love Sherry because she gave us, we made our national television debut. It was last month when she posted up, but Sherry Shepard. We've had Christy Brinkley, Carrie Ann Nava, Jenny McCarthy, Layla Ali, Robin Roberts, Josie Bissett. So we've had amazing women that have graced our covers, and it's just been an honor for me to get a chance to get to know them, interview them. And we've got more coming, and it's just, it's exciting.
I love that. And I want to take us back to the comment that you made about, you know, throughout all of these interviews, when you ask people, what does beauty mean to you? And none of them have said anything about the outside, that beauty is internal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
every single one. And I think that's, that's one of the reasons it's, there's a lot that goes into pitching and being able to secure well-known celebrities. And so what I'm proud of is that our message resonates with these individuals. And that's when you're on the right track. As hard as there's days that are hard and a lot of work that goes into it, but when they say yes, it's because of our mission. And that's a good sign.
Thank you, Michelle. I I think I know there's so many people in the audience that was meant for, and I feel like it was so much meant for me as well. bringing bringing people here to share their stories, and where your platform really resonates with them. So that's really powerful. Now, this photo is of your team.
Yes. I love every one of them. These are my friends. They're like, I consider family. I went to them with an idea, and said, "Hey, here's who I am, and here's who we are, and would you be interested? Would you want to be a part of it?" And they said yes. And that's just like, that to me, it's powerful, because we all are trying to make a difference. I think, several of those people that are part of our team, like Carrie Ann Inaba was a cover. She was our summer cover, in the midst of doing Dancing with the Stars. And, and we hit it off, and she was like, I would love to be a part of this. Same thing. Ari Zucker, she's 23 years on Days of Our Lives. We became friends. She's like, I want to be a part of this. Allie Landry, Elena George, 8-time Emmy winning makeup artist. She works directly with Robin Roberts. I reached out to her and I said, I want to do an article with you. And, I said, you're the one that makes the stars shine brighter, and I want to put the spotlight on you. And we became friends. I love her. We talk these are people that I talk to regularly. I could scream it from the rooftops because they're just such wonderful women that are aligned with our mission. And so they all write for us, and we do different events. And, I'm proud of the team. I sometimes I look at it and I still can't believe it. I'm like, here we are, again, no magazine experience, but we lead with heart.
I think, and really that goes to, this collaborative aspect and this community aspect and the importance of that. And really, we touched a little bit about how when that you're doing something right, when things start aligning and things start coming together, and people want to be there by your side. So it is apparent to me that this is a very big message that needs to be, like you've said, shouted out from the rooftops.
Mm-hmm. And I would tell anyone too listening, if you're following your passion, is keep going and don't give up. I know there's going to be times you're frustrated, and listen, I still get that way too. It's like, oh my gosh, but remember your why. Remember your why, and just keep going, one foot in front of the other.
Remember your why. Can you tell me? You've conducted so many interviews, and within the beauty industry, what is the most profound revelation that you've had?
Well, that could go either way here. Being in the magazine space, I always say, people are funny because, you do a lot of pitching and you get a lot of ghosting and, no's and things like that. So you have to really be, so I guess that's profound in some ways, but I think on a positive note, just how much we're all connected. We're all on the same path. We may be different steps in the journey, but we're all on the same path. And I do think that people want to feel connected. And so that's what we're hoping to do with our platforms. And I would say that would probably be the most profound.
That's a very good profoundness, that we are all connected.
They're all connected. But I had to throw out the other side because, like, yes, it's all syrupy sweet and we love those things. But the realness too is, and that's why I put out there, because I'm sure there's people listening that are, they're in the grind and they're like, I mean, you've got it too. We all are there. It's like, I want people to know that, like, I've been 2 years in, and yeah, I've landed some great things, but there's a lot of no's and a lot of, a lot of the work behind the scenes. People, like, I always call the magazine the shiny penny because it comes out every quarter and people are like, wow. And I'm like, yes, but they don't see the months that go into, and that's why I always say, I'm like, please, please, please. I shout that too. I'm like, support small business, because if you resonate with what we're doing, whether this is the Wellness Driven Life Show or this is Ask Us Beauty Magazine, show your support, because that's how we survive, is by all of you out there saying, hey, we believe in what you're doing.
That's a really good message, and I couldn't agree with you more. Another way is vote with your dollar, right?
Yes.
When there are things that you find that are really in alignment with you, that share the same values as you, support it, do it. And I really thank you for sharing that, even though it looks great and it looks wonderful and it looks successful, there are trials and tribulations, and it's not easy. And I think really where the only way that it can show up is through that work and the consistency of showing up and the consistency throughout those no's. I remember back when I was a youngin', they would say that you have to get 100 no's before you get your one yes. And that was, in law enforcement, because it was a competitive market. And, especially being someone that was new or a rookie per se, so you just have, as long as you have that, knowing that mindset, that you just have to keep going. And the realities is that you're going to have a lot of no's and you're going to have a lot of failures. But when you keep getting back up and putting one foot in front of the other, you will eventually accomplish.
Absolutely. One step closer. It's always getting you one step closer.
Yeah. So I want to share with the audience, because I always love sharing this bit and piece. I ask my people who I have on here, like, share some fun fact or a fun hobby, fun food. So those who actually answer it, I like to share. So what you answered was, I've never been to London, which is on my bucket list. And I'm sort of surprised by that, actually, because you sound like such a traveler. And I'm taking my sister in October to watch the Buffalo Bills play because she's a huge fan.
She is Bills Mafia. So if you've got any Bills fans, I should be, because I did my undergraduate in Buffalo. I'm from upstate New York, but yeah, she's part of the Bills Mafia, and they're like diehard. And so she's, they're there in October. She's so excited, and I was like, all right, you know what? Let's go. So she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So I thought, what a fun way if we're gonna do it, let's do it this way.
Oh, that's such an enjoyable experience. Very cool. So I want to let everybody know how to access you. And I've had streaming along the lines a little bit here, but really you can go to askusbeautymagazine.com, and you can get the content online for free, right? And then you can get the subscription. Yes.
Yeah, we have the digital magazine. It's in print as well, so you can purchase either of those. And then we have a lot of our, articles that are out there. We have, we're on YouTube, or Pinterest, Instagram. So we have a podcast, and we're starting a streaming channel. So we're really kind of just hitting up all platforms and all areas that you can find us.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I love the podcast aspect too, because then people really, just like this, get to hear those verbal stories. And I have to agree with you. I personally love that feel of the magazine in my hands. I like to be able to read it. And I have a lot of books to read. And when people give the information, online, it's harder. I shouldn't say it's harder. It's just I'm not as apt to want to go to it and read the content. I love having the physical book.
Absolutely. We wanted to provide, something for everyone. And the other thing I would like to mention is we accept nominations all the time. So for anyone out there, you can go to our website, and we have a section called Everyday Beauties, and we have Timeless Beauty. We have all these different categories. There's no fee involved or anything like that. We want to know who's out there that deserves to get a shout out and a spotlight. And so, feel free to send in your nominations.
Oh, that is really cool. Yeah, anybody who wants to nominate, beauty is so much, deeper, as we all
Yes.
know. So people from all walks of life are able to be in the magazine and really keep shining light on what the mission is to expose that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I love that. So thank you so much, Michelle, for being on the Wellness Driven Life Show and sharing with the audience that really your goal and what you want to do in transforming social media and the media in general and all that you do through the magazine. Is there anything else that you would love to share with the audience today?
Well, I would just say, just to reiterate that is making sure that you give yourself time and do the work for yourself, and know that, beauty really beauty starts from the inside out.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I will also want to share with our audience that the Wellness Driven Life Show is here through your incredible donations. You can donate through many aspects: Cash App, PayPal, and if you donate through the Wellness Driven Life site, www.thewellnessdrivenlifeshow.com, you will receive a beautiful follow-up email that you can keep for your records. So I want to thank you again, Michelle Emmick, as our guest on the Wellness Driven Life Show. You are back anytime. We would love to have you because I know that this journey is going to continue for you. And there's going to be a lot of what's next, coming up for you, and a lot more stories that you're going to have. So I'm excited for that, and to have people, really get in touch with you and do those nominations, because there's so many incredible stories out there, and how that all intertwines and how we show up with our overall wellness. So until next time, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.